burial place, a primitive spot enough, where the graves were only marked by rough stones, and the short, sheep-cropped grass was spread over departed generations of the farmers and their wives and children. By day it was in sight of the pine woods and the moving water, and nothing hid it from the great sky overhead, but now it was like a prison walled about by the barriers of night. However eagerly the woman had hurried to this place, and with what purpose she may have sought the river bank, when she recognized her surroundings she stopped for a moment, swaying and irresolute. "No, no," sighed the child plaintively, and she shuddered and started forward. Then, as her feet stumbled among the graves, she turned and fled. It no longer seemed solitary, but as if a legion of ghosts which had been wandering under cover of the dark had discovered this intruder and were chasing her and flocking around her and oppressing her from every side. And as she caught sight of a light in a faraway farmhouse window, a light which had been shining after her all the way down to the river, she tried to hurry toward it. The unnatural strength of terror urged her on. She retraced her steps like some pursued animal. She remembered one after another the fearful stories she had known of that ancient neighborhood. The child cried, but she could not answer it. She fell again and again, and at last all her strength seemed to fail her. Her feet refused to carry her farther, and she crept painfully, a few yards at a time, slowly along the ground. The fear of her superhuman enemies had forsaken her, and her only desire was to reach the light that shone from the looming shadow of the house. At last she was close to it. At last she gave one great sigh, and the child fell from her grasp. At last she clutched the edge of the worn doorstep with both hands, and lay still. 2. The farmhouse kitchen. Indoors there was a cheerful company. The mildness of the evening had enticed two neighbors of Mrs. Thatcher, the mistress of the house, into taking their walks abroad, and so, with their heads well protected by large gingham handkerchiefs, they had stepped along the road and up the lane to spend a social hour or two. John Thatcher, their old neighbor's son, was known to be away serving on a jury in the county town, and they thought it likely that his mother would enjoy company. Their own houses stood side by side. Mrs. Jacob Dyer and Mrs. Martin Dyer were their names, and excellent women they were. Their husbands were twin brothers, curiously alike and amazingly fond of each other, though either would have scorned to make any special outward demonstration of it. They were spending the evening together in Brother Martin's house, and were talking over the purchase of a bit of woodland and the profit of clearing it, when their wives had left them without any apology to visit Mrs. Thatcher, as we have already seen. This was the nearest house, and only a quarter of a mile away, and when they opened the door they had found Mrs. Thatcher spinning. "I must own up, I am glad to see you mourn common," she said. "I don't feel scary at being left sole alone, it ain't that, but I have been getting through with a lonesome spell of another kind. John, he does as well as a man can, but here I be. And the good woman could say no more, while her guests understood readily enough the sorrow that had found no words. "I suppose you haven't got no news from Adeline?" asked Mrs. Martin bluntly. "We was speaking of her as we come along, and saying it seemed to be a pity she shouldn't feel it was best to come back this winter and help you through. Only one daughter, and left alone as you be with the bad spells you're liable to in winter time. But there, it ain't her way. Her ambitions ain't what they should be, that's all I can say." "If she'd got a gift for anything special now," continued Mrs. Jake, "we should feel it was different and want her to have a chance. But she's just like other folks, for all she felt so much above farming. I don't see as she can do better than come back to the old place, or leastways to the village, and fetch up the little gal to be some use. She might dressmake or do millinery work. She always had a pretty taste, and 'twould be better than roving. I suppose 'twould hurt her pride." But Mrs. Thatcher flushed at this, and Mrs. Martin came to the rescue. "You'll think we're regular Job's comforters," cried the good soul hastily. "But there, Miss Thatcher, you know we feel as if she was our own. There ain't nothing I wouldn't do for Adeline, sick or well, and I declare I believe she'll pull through yet and make a piece of luck that'll set us all to work praising of her. She's like to marry again for all